Welcome friends to Mimi's Home and Garden. Today I'm going to share with you how I like to paint pumpkins. Let me first start off by saying I am not an artist. I'm a craftist. I like to craft paint, but I have enjoyed it. It does bring me such pleasure. It's very relaxing, and this is a sign I made last year for my front porch. And I'm just going to show you step by step how easy it is to paint a pumpkin. So I've gone to Pinterest and I have a full board on this, and I bought this tray from Dollar Tree for $5. It's very nice. I've coated it with 2 coats of black chalkboard paint, and I'm just going to kind of sketch out the design of what I want first on paper, and then I'll draw it out on my tray. So I've got my sketch pad out, and I'm going to show you in just a second how easy it is to draw out a pumpkin. So you might want to practice this a little bit before starting to paint your own. But I just take my pencil, I'm going to start with the middle section of the pumpkin. And then you kind of draw out an outer section. And then another one. And one more. Now you can make these any size. You can make them great big or small. Then the stem is very easy. There's all different kinds of stems that you can put on your pumpkin. This is the one I'm going to do for this pumpkin. But that's basically how to draw a pumpkin. So on this tray, I've kind of put out a design. I've drawn it out first, and now I'm going to start to paint the pumpkins, and I'm going to base coat everything in white. And when you're painting your pumpkin, you do it just like you drew it. You go around each side and then fill in the middle. And then you go around and add each layer. Now as I'm painting, I'm just kind of go along and give you some tips that will help you when painting pumpkins. If you're going to be using orange, yellow, or red, you should always base coat it in white first. Those colors tend to be very translucent, and so you're going to need a good white background, and then you won't have to use so much of the color. So this pumpkin is going to stay white, and the pumpkin over to the left is going to be orange, but I will need to base coat it white first. You let it dry, and this took about 3 to 4 days to finish because I like all my coats to be good and dry before I start the next coat. I am using acrylic paints that you can purchase at craft stores, Dollar Tree, and Walmart. They're very inexpensive, and $1 or so a bottle, and it goes a long way. But always base coat your pumpkins white. Now you can see I just followed the lines that I drew, and I painted it the same way. Started in the middle and then went out on each side. And that's basically it for painting a pumpkin. We'll go back and add on the stem, but if you can draw it out, you can certainly paint it. Now we'll go later in this video and I'll show you how we'll add some depth and some color to it. There's the little pumpkin, the little orange one. But there's so many good ideas on Pinterest of pumpkin designs. Just type in the word fall pumpkin art and you'll see so many good examples that you can follow. Now after I get both the pumpkins painted, I'm going to let them sit and dry. We'll go ahead and start working on the stems in just a minute. So you'll need a brown for those. And if you look at a pumpkin at the stem, look at it very carefully, and you'll see how unique they are and how really easy they are to paint. Alright, there's the orange. I'm going to get 2 coats on that, and then we'll go back and add some depth and some shadowing. So I did add some green leaves, which is very easy. I drew those out first, and then I just painted them green. Now I'm going to go back in and add a sunflower and some more green leaves, and then we're going to do some like fall flowers all along the bottom. So now we're going to work on this stem, And I'm just painting it, starting off with a brown, and then we'll go back and add in some black and some off-white beige and kind of really make it look like a real stem. And I'm just following the lines that I drew in. I add a little curly Q to the top. Now that's one style of pumpkin stem, and then I'm making a little short one to go on the orange one. Okay, now we're going to start adding some depth to our pumpkin. And those ridge lines, we're going to add in some shadowing. If you look at the pumpkin to the left, you can see where I shadowed in with some brown. The picture that I'm following for this white pumpkin had those ridges a blue color. And so I just follow along, just like we've done all along, and done the middle sections first with a light blue. And then I'm going to go to add the other ridge lines as well. Now, I started off with blue because that was the picture I was looking at, but I really didn't like it. So near the end of the video, I go back over those with the brown that looks just like the pumpkin beside it. But this is still the same technique. We're going to go in and add all different kinds of colors to this white pumpkin, because if you really look at a pumpkin, they're not solid white. So I'm just going in with a really fine paintbrush and just adding those lines. Then what I'm going to do is take my flat paintbrush and just dip it in one side of the paint, paint a couple of times on the plate, and then I'm going to go down the lines again. That just makes it look a little bit deeper. Now you can see in the end product, you could see a little bit of the blue peeking out, but I really liked the brown better. But I just want you to see what to do. Now I went back and loaded the brush with some white, tapped it in the water, and I'm going back over it just to soften it a little bit so it's not so stark. So I cleaned my brush, dipped it in the white, and then a little bit of water. I'm just trying to soften that dark blue line. And it's already starting to look like our pumpkin. So I keep doing that till I get the right consistency that I want. And like I said, I did go back and add brown, the same brown that I used in the stem. Okay, so I took my paintbrush that had a little bit of blue in it, and I'm just kind of going and adding strokes throughout the pumpkin, little marks. I'll go back again and do this with green. I've got some gray. Then I go back over everything with white. And you can see me as I do that. I'm just trying to add some depth and some detail to the pumpkin. If you look at the orange one, you can see some yellow and some brown strokes in it. Just kind of makes it look more authentic. But again, I am not a professional painter, so just take that for what it's worth. I just love to craft paint. Alright, now I'm mixing up a little bit of green. It's still not the right color, so I'm going to add a little bit of yellow in here just to brighten it up. I'm kind of going by that picture I had on my iPad and trying to match as best I can those colors. And you just want a little bit, and then if you get too much, don't worry, you can just go back over it with the white. So in different places, I'm just adding a little bit of green. You can see the little bit of blue in there, and then we'll go back over it with white. Then we're going to blend all this in. I did add a gray because I kept looking at the picture and I'd see a gray. Now you see I'm just taking the white again, white paint, a little bit of water, and just going like a wash. I'm just washing back over the pumpkin just to kind of tone it down just a bit. And I get to the point where I think I've got to stop. But I keep going until I finally am happy with it, and then I stop. So that's basically the process for painting pumpkins. If you didn't want to go through all this work, you could just leave yours white. Use a brown to make those creases in the pumpkin. And that should be fine. There we go. Now, you can see the creases look so pretty in that orange pumpkin, and that's what I want for the white one. I put on a little bit of gray, and I'm going back over with the white. All right, now that I'm waiting for this pumpkin to dry, I'm going to go ahead and add some detail to this stem. So between the two brown points, I'm doing a black triangle. And if you look at the pumpkin over at the left, it just causes a little shadow on those stems. It makes you be able to see the stem going into the pumpkin, if that makes any sense. So as you watch me, I'm just kind of painting some little triangles in between each one of those points. Then we're going to go back over it with the brown, and then I'm going to add some light shadows with a off-white or a cream color. I think it's best if you just watch me instead of me trying to explain it. I'm making the points a little bit deeper into the pumpkin. Kind of pulling those down in the pumpkin just like a stem goes down into the top of a pumpkin. There we go. Then I'm just going to kind of pull up some of that brown right on up the stem, pull up some of the black, and then we'll go back and add in some of that off-white or beige. It just makes such a big difference when you touch up with the other colors. Just gives it some depth. Then at the end, I'm going to add some little curly cues to the pumpkin in the brown. I don't think I got to video that, but I'll add in some little curly cues on both pumpkins. I just keep playing with it until I get it how I want it, but it's not hard. If you didn't want to do all this, just paint the whole thing brown and don't worry about it. I kind of tend to be a perfectionist. I keep going and going until I get it exactly like I want it. And this is getting better. I wanted you to be able to see the depth in those little points that are going down into the pumpkin. And then I just work the highlighted color all the way up to the top. And I think that's pretty much it. Just going to blend it in with my big flat brush, just a little bit. But I think I got it now. And in a minute you're going to see how I went back and fixed that blue and made it more brown, and I liked it so much better. We're also going to go in with some yellow and highlight those leaves on the side, make them look a little different. Alright, now we're going to do the fun part. And this is where you take Q-tips. And I've got red, 2 different shades of orange and 2 different shades of a yellow, and you just take the tip of the Q-tip and you just make dots. Very easy, very fun. I'm just going to fill in the whole bottom. And I'm starting with red. I'm going to work up both sides. Then I go in and do another color and another color. But I had 4 colors that I worked with. Then I went back with the Q-tip and did white dots. This is very easy. It's a fun project for kids. And I just keep filling it and filling it. Now I took my pen and followed the picture I had on Pinterest and just wrote the word blessed up there. And now I'm adding another leaf to the side. I felt like it needed it. If you look down there at the bottom, I did take a green paintbrush and do little tiny leaves all in that flower dots. Now I've decided I'm going to do a sunflower on the side. And you look at this, you think, oh no, she has messed this up. But I like to paint sunflowers. They're so much fun. So of course you got to base coat it in white. I'm doing this freehand. I did not draw this on. I just kind of at the last minute decided to add a sunflower. So we're going to do this in white. We're going to fill it all in, let it dry, and then we'll put in our colors. I just let it come over the side of that stem. Now while that's drying, I'm going to go ahead and if you look at those leaves, I've highlighted those leaves with some yellow just to make it stand out a little bit. And now I'm doing the inside of the sunflower in black. And then I go back over that with some brown after it has dried. Then I paint all the leaves kind of a deep yellow, and then I go back over them with a lighter yellow and then a little bit of white. 2 coats of this yellow because it is so translucent. I did 2 coats of that yellow. It looks like it's just peeking around the corner of the big pumpkin. Now, I take a brush because I don't want a lot of paint, and I dip it in white paint, and I'm just dotting. I'm just adding just a little bit of sparkle or a little bit of something to those dots down at the bottom. It looks so pretty on the sign I did last year. I decided to go ahead and do it with this one. And you just dab it on. So you can see I put the brown shading and it looks so much better than the blue. So I painted the inside. I just dabbed in some brown, and then I took some white and dabbed on the middle of the sunflower. And now I'm just highlighting, adding some highlights to the leaves. And I'm almost done. I keep looking at it and I keep thinking of something else I can add. Then I just get to the point where I've got to say, stop, that's enough. But I'm not there yet. Now, I could have put another sunflower in there, but I felt like it was getting busy. So I just decided not to do that. I just left it like this. I mean, this is a very small tray. I'm just adding a little bit of yellow to those leaves that you can see. And I think we're just about done. I did take a very thin white paintbrush and went over those blast letters. Now, if you have a paint pen, that would work the best. You can buy those at Walmart, acrylic paint pens, and that would have been really easy, but I didn't have one and I wanted to go ahead and get this done. So here is the final product. After it dries real well, I'm going to apply a coat of polyurethane spray to seal it. But that's it. It's all done now. This was the sign I did last year. It's out on my front porch now. It says, "Give thanks unto the Lord." I think it turned out great. I love it. Like I said, I am not a professional, but I just love to do it. It's so relaxing and so much fun. And I hope you'll give it a try because it's not hard. If you have any questions, just leave those below and let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching. I hope everyone has a wonderful fall and a very blessed day.